Welcome to the FanCast podcast, where we give you a daily dose of sports as well as a way to ask for more. I'm your host, Neth. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Hey, what's up? It's Bryant.
Yeah, I'm Cody.
Mario's here.
And yours truly.
This is our
Yeah.
stats guy, Rezo.
The man behind the stats.
Behind the scenes.
Well, I'm glad you could make an appearance. This week, we're talking about football, biggest winners, biggest losers, and expectations for next week. When I think about this past weekend of football, honestly, I didn't watch too much, but one game that I made sure I was right in front of my TV for was the Pats-Chiefs game. Personally, I didn't see that coming. Did anybody else see this performance out of the Chiefs?
Yes. Chiefs always play good against Patriots. They did good last year during the regular season. What I don't think anybody saw coming was Kareem Hunt. Spencer Ware went down, and a lot of people were just worried. You know, he was a big cornerstone of that offense last year. Came out the gate with a passion, Kareem Hunt, and he's clearly going to be...
And a fumble.
And a fumble. He came out the gate with a fumble. He never fumbled in his college career.
First career carry is a fumble. No, it motivated him. It kept him going for the rest of the game, and then look what he did. He went off.
And he went off, and I see that coming every game moving forward.
Spoiler alert, he's on Mario's fantasy team. That's why he's saying that.
Cody, who is your biggest winner
Of that game? Or of
last weekend?
Last weekend? That's tough. I mean, I feel like, most teams played as expected. Obviously, besides the Patriots, I think it was an interesting weekend. I watched a few of the games. I watched the Patriots on Thursday. I watched the Eagles on Sunday. I watched the Sunday night game and then the two Monday night games, and those were pretty interesting. I think the Denver Broncos came and showed up in the Monday night game. I know a lot of people expected the Chargers to kind of come out on top because they're offensive weapons. But the Denver defense, I think, played a big part this week, showing why they're the top defense in the league and kind of just shut them down. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC. And personally, I'm afraid for the Patriots to face them. I think they play them in a few weeks. I want to say like week 4 or 5 they play them. And I'm just afraid to see Mr. Von Miller running at 40-year-old Brady. I don't want him to knock him down here.
Do you think the Pats were overhyped coming into the season?
I think the Pats are always overhyped. I think it's as a Pats fan, I think you always kind of expect them to win, and when they don't, when they inevitably lose a game, it's the worst thing in the world, and they suck, and people hate it. I think they're always they're expected to win every game, and you can't live up to that kind of hype all the time. I think they're always been over, and they've been overhyped for years. And a lot of times they live up to it, and obviously last week they didn't. And obviously, I think there was a lot of issues with the team. The defense obviously didn't live up to par. We had a lot of injuries. Like Hightower went down, which is a big, he's the cog in our defense. And then Amendola left the game. And obviously we don't have Edelman for the season, which hurts. That's a huge part of he's a huge part of our team. Obviously, ever since Wes Welker, the slot receiver, has been a huge part of the Patriots game plan, and now they're trying to work around it. Actually, we heard a stat the other day that with Edelman, Tom Brady's record is 43-8. And without him, it's 4-6. His touchdown interception ratio is 4.9 with Edelman and 1.7 without it.
Mr. Reliable, man.
That's a scary stat when you look at we're going to be without this man all season. Can we fill that spot? Who fits in Edelman's shoes? We don't have a receiver that plays like he does. We have Chris Hogan and Brandon Cooks. We just have to change up the game plan. And I think the Patriots won't lose like that again. This week against the Saints, they're going to come out and they're going to prove you fool us once, don't fool us twice. They're going to come out and they're going to show, all right, we're not going to be embarrassed 2 weeks in a row. So I think we'll see them play pretty hard against the Saints, who I think were also a big loser this week. Speaking of losers, I think they really underperformed. And I don't think it was because of the Vikings defense either. I think they just they struggled. Their game plan, no one really played as expected. Adrian Peterson struggled. Brees didn't really have it in him.
I think it was because of the Vikings defense. Because if you remember last year, Vikings defense started off on fire. They were on fire, and then after like week 7, I think they fell off a cliff, and it just kind of shocked the world. But then yesterday or Monday night, you have to consider. So you have Sammy B going up against a terrible Saints defense. So he's going to be able to get you ahead, and the Vikings defense was able to hold their own. And I think that Adrian Peterson's not a good fit for the Saints offense. He can't block, he can't catch, he's just excellent at running. But they don't care about running because you just have Drew Brees, the gunslinger, who's just going to get you down the field. He just wants to throw it. And Adrian doesn't fit this game plan. He doesn't fit this scheme. What is he doing there?
No, that's true. I don't think he really fits their scheme. I mean, he needs to be on a team that runs the ball at least 50% of the game because, that's what the Vikings did when they had. They ran the ball all the time. The Saints are a throwing team. Obviously, you got Drew Brees, you're going to be a throwing team. And, plus he's one of just a few running backs there, so he shouldn't be on that team. It's not a good fit for him. But
See, personally, I think the biggest winner this week has to be the Rams. Has to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. Indianapolis without Andrew Luck isn't exactly a stellar thing. But to put up the performance that they did has to be huge for their confidence when it comes to a lot of their young players that they have on their team. Somebody like Jared Goff, young quarterback. Like, a lot of the time, these young quarterbacks need to get off to a good start to kind of reassure them that they belong in the league. I know he came in mid-season last year and looked a little shaky for the most part, putting it nicely. But I think this is a really good start for them, especially with the way Washington performed this week, where Kirk Cousins wasn't really on the same page as a lot of his receivers and overthrowing. I think the Rams defense is realistically better than the Philadelphia Eagles defense, so they can kind of take advantage of that more and really put them in a good situation to win. When it comes to something like a loser, I really got to think Cincinnati on this one. Andy Dalton was just so bad. He had a .6 QBR this week, which is the worst that it's ever been since the stat was created.
Man.
So I mean, there's no other loser beyond literally the worst that a stat has ever been.
He lost me $10 on my fantasy.
Lost you $10.
It's all downhill.
I don't think like that. Cincinnati won't like bounce back from something like that. Andy Dalton, pretty good quarterback. I don't think he'll put up another performance like that. But still, that's got to be a blow to the old confidence there.
I dropped him from my roster. He's not performing that way on my roster again. He's gone.
On your roster, maybe, but probably on Cincinnati's roster.
I mean, there was always I don't know if you guys remember, but people always joke about the Andy Dalton line, where it's like Andy Dalton's good enough to get you to the playoffs, but never enough to win you the chip. And it's crazy to see that Andy Dalton line just got lowered. And do you think that he bounces back from this? I feel like he's normally better. We've seen him be better than this. Is this a showing of what's to come, or is this just a fluke? It's just week 1, shake off the jitters.
I think it's
week 1.
Yeah, I think you got to call it a fluke. I mean, you look at Andy Dalton last year before he broke his thumb. He was lights out. I'm not saying that he's the best quarterback in the league, but he's certainly better than what last week was.
Yeah, I think
100%.
It's clearly an anomaly. I think a lot of people panic after week 1, and they try to push the panic button, and they're like, "Oh my God, our team's gonna suck." Week 1, again, you're shaking off the jitters. You're just getting back into football. You got to get a rhythm going, and you got to start, looking at what your team has and game plans. I think if you have a great performance week 1 or a bad one, you can't consider it a trend. You got to be like, okay, it was probably a fluke. Let's see how they do it in week 2 and week 3. If it's once, it's an anomaly. If it's twice, it's a pattern. I think you got to give it a couple of weeks to kind of see. I think he'll even out. Obviously, he's not going to go 0.6 again. He'd have to really try to do that again. that was just horrendous. Another winner also I think is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
The bar was so low for this team coming in, and then they just came in, win against the Houston Texans. I'm not saying the Houston Texans are a tremendous team, but they made the playoffs last year, so that they won 29-7. Their defense just shocked everyone. Nowhere. Beautiful, obviously, against Tom Savage, but then Deshaun Watson came in, and they still kept up. They almost shut him out. And then even Blake Bortles, everyone in the preseason was laughing at this man. The coach literally said, when asked how many times do you want him throwing the ball, 0. In the preseason, he said he didn't want his quarterback to throw the ball at all. Like, coming from your own coach, talk about no confidence booster. And he threw the ball pretty well. I think he's out to prove a point. Like, hey, I'm a good quarterback. Don't doubt me. And they got Leonard Fournette back there in the backfield. I think they're going to be a decent team. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs or go very far, but people underestimated them. I think they were a big Week 1 winner.
I think a team that you might want to keep an eye out for too, in terms of a loser, even though they won this week, is Carolina. That team looked like they were just struggling to do anything against a terrible 49ers team. They won 23-3, but anybody who watched that game honestly wouldn't have guessed, because they struggled to get anything offensively going. Because me and Nathaniel were watching Red Zone at a friend's house. Every time the Panthers were on, it just looked like they were just struggling to move the ball.
100%. Like that game was a lot funner to watch from a defensive perspective than an offensive one.
And that's so surprising considering all the weapons they have, because they got Cam Newton, he's coming off an injury. They got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, Greg Olsen at tight end. Like, they got a lot of playmakers, so it's surprising to see,
Christian McCaffrey played pretty well, but Kelvin Benjamin again is just looking big and slow. They said he's in better shape this year, but I don't know. He just doesn't look like a wide receiver out there to me.
Yeah, I think Greg Olsen's probably more of a receiver than he is.
Yeah, for sure.
So and Cam Newton can run. He can run and he can throw. That one year where they brought it all the way to the Super Bowl, and maybe it might have been their height. Everyone thought they were the team to watch going into future years, and now, last year obviously.
I think Cam Newton needs to up his football IQ. It just looks like he struggles to make reads out there properly, and obviously that doesn't help that he doesn't get necessarily the protection that he needs in the pocket either. But I don't know. It just looks like he's just not completely getting the defense.
Yeah,
he's thrown into double coverage a lot and stuff, and
yeah, it's in a man with his physical stature and his just natural born talent. Clearly, the issue is he just doesn't have the football IQ of say a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or a Drew Brees, who he needs to learn the game better. Maybe by watching tape. I don't know. You
think that just comes with time?
I don't know. He's been in the league 5-6 years now.
Time, a lot of it's probably time, but motivation too. He's got to care. He's always kind of given this attitude I'm good, I'm talented, I don't need to do much work. That's the vibe. So maybe he's not paying attention.
That fumble in the Super Bowl, man. He didn't go for it.
Yeah, and he'll get shit for that forever. He doesn't care. So I think that's why he doesn't have the football IQ, is because he doesn't have the want to or care to. Maybe he'll turn it around one of these years and pick it up. Defenses are going to start reading him better.
So even with defenses reading him better, I think that he almost has, like you said, his just size and just he's still just for the fact of how big he is and how versatile he is. I think he's always going to have that playmaker. You have to always respect him as a defensive coordinator, and even if he doesn't go after the fumbles, it's just sometimes this dude's just big enough, he can just kind of force his way into doing things. And as a defense, you either can't stop him or you just have to allocate so much to stop him that puts you behind.
Well, yeah, but if you can read what this man's going to do, and this man's not smart enough to adapt to different defenses, to different plays, you're going to read everything he does. And I don't care how big he is, he's just going to be mediocre. He's not going to be the star he was. because defenses are just going to be like, oh, he's just going to do a read option to the left, and we're just going to stack the left side. Like that's not
going to beat a team like Seattle.
But do you
know?
think?
Yeah, it's not going to beat any playoff team.
Do you think if the coaching was better, that they'd be able to, even if he can't adjust to it? Do you think if like the coaches were just better there, that they would be able to just like make up for his lack of football IQ that you're saying there is?
I think you can only coach someone who wants to be coached. I mean, there's only.
No.
I mean, I don't think Ron Rivera is a bad coach.
No, I think he's a good coach, but I'm saying, like, do you think he can like come up with like he would expect that Seattle is going to do blank, so he is going to just adjust the play call accordingly and kind of just build the play.
Yeah, but the thing is like if you're guy who's out there to like lead your offense can't, like, let's say you're like, okay, it's third down in this, and I'm expecting Seattle to load the box here and to put pressure on us, right? So you call this play, and Cam Newton runs out there, and on the fly, the defense shifts into a dime package, and if your quarterback isn't good enough to make that read and change the play, like, that's not on the coach. Like, that's on a player for not knowing his job completely.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Rivera can't be out there taking snaps and doing this himself. Like, he needs to trust Cam Newton can learn to read that defense and to make that fly, that call on the fly. So I think it just comes down to the maturity of Cam Newton and the willingness to learn the game. Personally,
I think he'll be fine. I think with the experiences he has, I don't see him taking much of a step back. I really don't.
It's not really in terms of a step back. It's just not taking steps forward that I'm worried about.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he could stay at the level he's at, but that's not going to win him a Super Bowl. It's not going to bring that team to the next level. So, also, he's got these pieces around him, but he's not utilizing them. I'm not blaming, like Calvin Benjamin, I'm not blaming like his slowness and lack of thing there, but like, he's got Greg Olsen. Now he has a running back in the backfield. They drafted a rookie wide receiver, Curtis Samuel, who's pretty good. He's kind of like a little slot guy. So they're putting the tools around him. He's just got to use them.
How did the Eagles look?
Pretty good.
I think they did. I put it on briefly, but they look good.
Defense looked good.
Is this the year?
I mean, I don't think they win it all this year. I don't think they're there yet. I don't think anyone puts that on them either, because I think they're still a young team, but right now they're just kind of playing to just get better every game. And with that, then, I want to say within the next 2 to 3 years, maybe, I don't even want to say, I feel like next year is too optimistic, but they're just kind of building the pieces. The defense looks really good. Jim Schwartz is just, he's a really good defensive mind. He's been one since he was in Detroit as the head coach. He's just always had that. Though defense looks good. Cornerbacks, the secondary is still a little bit of a question mark. Ron Darby, thankfully he didn't have a serious tear injury. He's going to be back in a couple weeks, it looks like.
4 to 6 weeks is the confirmation.
Yeah, so 2 months he'll be back, tops. And again, with their offense right now, we have a pretty good look. We have, Alshon Jeffrey is kind of what we needed. We needed a big number 1 wide receiver who can take a lot of the focus. Nelson Aguilar took leaps and bounds forward by just catching a football, and it was amazing. A lot of Eagles fans literally just catching the football, because he's always had. This has always been his problem. He can get open against Seattle. Like, just an example. If it takes some serious skill to just get open against a team like Seattle, but he can't catch the ball afterwards. But the fact that he just caught the ball, it just showed, again, leaps and bounds, the progress he's made. Redskins have a really good defensive line. They got to the quarterback sometimes. They did a good job stuffing the run, but they have a really underrated defensive line. I don't think it's one that gets talked about a lot, but they're great. And the Eagles.
That's my big thing. We put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. And I think that our line did a decent job, and especially after watching the Giants just the turnstiles that were their offensive line. Like, it makes me feel good about what the Eagles have moving forward. Granted, Jason Peters isn't getting any younger. He can't have many years left in the tank. But I definitely think where we're at right now is just, it was a good game. It was a good week 1. Let's see if we can keep this up. Let's see if we can just kind of keep this promise up moving forward. And I'm happy to see where this team goes.
Do you think they make the playoffs this year?
I think they can make the wild card. It's tough. It's so early to call. It's week 1. We've seen a week of football.
Yeah, it's tough to win the NFC. Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't know if they can win the NFC East, but
yeah, I think it's gonna be a dogfight between the Cowboys. It kind of depends on a few factors. Realistically, like obviously Ezekiel Elliott being able to play for the entire season, that kind of hurts our chances a little bit. But I don't know. I could see us at 11-5, and I'm calling the Cowboys record probably about 12-4, 13-3 in that area.
That's fair. If Zeke plays all season, I see them going 13-3.
So I mean,
on defense, they got to address.
I think wild card is a realistic target for us this year, but like Mario said, I think a lot of leaps were made from last year. One of the things that kind of scares me is the way Carson Wentz kind of holds the football when he's eluding like all these tackles and extending plays, which are great, but he's just kind of like holding the ball like pretty far away from his body and with one hand. And I think against a better defensive line, they're just going to take that football from him. So I think he needs to.
That one play where he avoided like 4 sacks and then threw the ball like 50 yards downfield to Aguilar. I was like, this man, very agile, very nimble in the pocket.
It's very cool if you could just, put 2 hands on that football. I'd be much happier.
Yeah, I know. It makes you not want to have a heart attack every time he moves.
Right.
The ball. I think they're in a good spot. I mean, I think if the Eagles do make the wild card this year, then it's a win for them. Because clearly they're not in it to win it this year. They're rebuilding. They're in a rebuilding phase. So making the playoffs would be a huge win for them, showing they have potential, have a future. Carson Wentz is a great quarterback.
Yep.
So,
anything better than 8-8 this year is a win for me. Realistically, finishing with a winning record, I'm happy with.
Yeah, and I think fans would be definitely happy with that.
Well, I think this is your year. I feel like the Ravens, although I didn't watch their game, they're going to be 10-6 this year. They're going to be 3 years removed from another Super Bowl appearance. I'm just calling it now. I feel it.
Oh, you think they could come out of the AFC?
Man.
AFC is pretty tough, man.
Yeah, the AFC's a tough. I mean, the Ravens, I could.
Who do you see in the too early to call? Who do you see representing the AFC in the playoffs?
In the playoffs?
In the play, who are the 6 teams that gets out of the AFC come January?
Okay, I'll start in no particular order. New England, Oakland, Kansas City, probably Denver.
3 teams out of the West? Oof.
Yeah. It's a good division, I'm going to be honest.
It is. It is a good division.
Is Pittsburgh AFC?
Yeah, AFC North.
Yeah, probably Pittsburgh.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to go with the Patriots, one in the East.
Wait. He didn't do anybody from the South. Colts, Texans, Titans.
Yeah, he
Jags.
picked 3 from the West. He picked 6. He picked 3 from the West. Oh, you got
to pick a division winner.
Hold on. My bad.
You can pick 3 from the West, but you need 1 from each other, because there's 6 total.
That's true. He picked Ravens. That's true. He didn't pick one for the East either, did he?
He picked Pats, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, Steelers.
Okay, hold on. All right, so AFC East, New England.
Yes.
AFC West, Oakland.
Okay.
AFC North, Steelers.
Okay.
AFC South.
Say it. I know you wanna.
Jacksonville.
Damn
man.
right, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Damn right, Jacksonville.
All right, and I have 2 left, right?
Yeah, 2 left, and I think you said Chiefs.
Denver, for sure. And, yeah, Chiefs.
I think Chiefs are more for sure than Denver, honestly.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Denver's my question mark. I think Denver could be Titans. Call me crazy.
Out of all the ones that I named, Denver has the best defense.
That's true. They do. I mean, they have the
don't
arguably
know.
the best defense in the AFC.
I mean, Chiefs lost Eric Berry for the year, but I still like that Chiefs defense. They're not like they're not a flashy defense, but they're like the Memphis Grizzlies of the NFL. They just grind you out.
All right. So give me your list.
AFC, sure. So Patriots is easy. I think Chiefs win the division. Not to disrespect Derek Carr. Derek Carr is going to make the playoffs in the wild card, but Chiefs win that division. Andy's hungry, and when Andy's hungry, he gonna eat. He gonna feast. Then we got
Chiefs.
Yeah. What do we got? We got South.
Yep.
South is a toss-up between. It's so tough. Like the South, it really needs to see more games. But I'm gonna say Titans. I'm gonna say Mariota just hits his stride. I think that there's some crazy stats with him regarding his red zone efficiency. Is just out of this world.
Very good.
I'm gonna say Steelers. I don't think Ravens can compete. I think Browns could maybe.
Bullshit.
Browns looked good against the Steelers this year. They lost by, I think, 3 against the Steelers week 1.
They did look pretty good.
They looked good, and I'm so high on Isaiah Crowell. I'm so high on the Browns this year. I think that maybe they finish 8th best record in the AFC, which doesn't get them in the playoffs, but they're knocking on the door for the future.
Yeah, that's a win for them.
That's a win for them. So,
All right.
Pats, Steelers, Chiefs, Titans. I got 2 left. I'm going to say Raiders. I'm going to say... I'm going to say Browns. Fuck it. They're 6. They're
Wow.
6. They're
All
jumping from 8 to 6. I'm high on the Browns this year.
All right.
High on the
That's
Browns this
awesome.
year.
Good sleeper pick.
All right. Let's hear it, Cody.
I gotta go. Pats out of the East. Obviously, I think that's an easy one. Out of the North, I'm gonna say the Steelers come away with it. Out of the South, Jacksonville wins it. And out of the West, Oakland wins it.
Yeah, I agree.
My 2 wild cards, I'm also gonna go with the Titans. I'm pretty high on them. I'm high on Mariota. They got Murray. I think they pull away with a wild card this year. Also, I think it's going to be. I mean, you got to think they play a lot of their games in the South against the Texans, the Colts. I mean, I think you got to pick them for a wild card. And I'm going to go with the other one being Denver. I don't think Kansas City makes it. I don't. Like Mario said, I mean, they're not the best defense. They're flashy. They'll win some games, but I got it. Denver's defense is too good to not have that team. Also, Simeon looked pretty good. I got to say, like he ran in a touchdown. He threw 2 others. I think Denver, they fight Oakland for a win of the division, but I think Oakland comes away and Denver definitely gets a wild card.
I think you saying Kansas City not making the playoffs is more shocking than me saying the Browns make the playoffs. I think it's that absurd to say Kansas City doesn't make the playoffs this year.
I gotta go with the strike. I like the West. I think it's a deep division, but they play against the Broncos twice with that defense. And Alex Smith, I think week 1 was an anomaly. There's no way
the same thing. The Broncos have to play the Chiefs with that defense.
He's good, and they got Kareem Hunt. I just don't see him making it. I don't know if
they make it. They win that division. Raiders are a close second.
Here's a question. Andrew Luck, let's say, comes back week 3 and is playing like a good Andrew Luck. You know what I mean? Do the Colts come back and win the division over the Jags?
Yes.
Yes.
And they would win it over the Titans.
I'm not so. They'd probably win it over the Jags, but it would be tight. I don't think they'd run away with it. I think the Titans would probably put them a run forward too. I think it's a tighter division than people think. Maybe last year it might have been like, nah, but I mean,
I
Also,
agree. It
the
is
Colts
a tight
have a tremendous defense. I mean, sorry, a horrendous defense.
one. Two very different
Yeah.
words.
Very different words. They have a horrendous defense, so I don't think that. I mean, Andrew Luck can throw 6 touchdowns a game, but if that defense can't stop anyone,
Andrew Luck, when healthy and when playing like we've seen him, when we've seen the potential we've seen him achieve and reach, he can bring you to the playoffs alone, especially in that division. But I don't see that happening at all this year. I don't see him coming back to Andrew Luck form this year. I see Jamal Charles. Last year's Jamal Charles, where it was always like, oh, he's gonna come back, he's healthy-ish, he's getting there. That's Andrew Luck this year. Andrew Luck is not gonna play a snap at 100% this year.
I agree. I think that shoulder is a concerning injury, and I think he comes back not week 3. I think he'll come back around week 5 or 6, but he's not the Andrew Luck of old, and Indy misses the playoffs by a hair.
By the time he can come back, I think they're already out of playoff. They're so far behind playoff contention. If you're the Colts, you're just like, why?
Yeah,
Why
Mario's
throw
cut
him
out
back
again.
in? I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Am I
You
back?
cut
I'm
out.
good. All right. I think by the time Andrew Luck can start, he's going to be the Colts are going to be so far out of the division race that it's not worth putting him in to risk injury. It's just you cut your losses. And we just say, all right, we just give him the full year to rest up. It's not going to be worth putting him in at all this year.
That's fair. That would be a smart management decision. But do they put in Andrew Luck for the fans, or for the chance that maybe they could pull away with a wild card? I don't think any team runs with it in the South. I think if he comes back early enough, the Colts could definitely make a run for it. You know, I'd have to look at their full schedule but I think he plays again this year. There's no way he sits out all year. My big prediction for the AFC, or one of my big predictions, and you guys may laugh at me, is C.J. Anderson doesn't last the whole season. He has an injury, and Jamal Charles will become the starting running back for the Denver Broncos in the AFC West, and he will finish the season that way.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I think
I got a soft spot in my heart for Jamal Charles, no matter how many times this man burns me.
Yeah, I mean, he burns you once, burns you twice. I mean, I think this year I'm not saying he's like Jamal Charles of old, but the man can still run. I watched the game the other night, and he was running up the sideline. He's got that same old speed. You know, if he can stay healthy, I mean, C.J. Anderson can't really. He's not a great health factor either. So I think they give it to Charles, and he runs with it.
So we've discussed the AFC. I feel like it's only smart that we talk about the NFC too.
The way too early playoff calls.
The way too early playoff calls.
All right, Brian, take it away.
All right, NFC East. Hurts to say, I'm going to say Dallas.
Okay.
Oh, disrespectful.
NFC West. NFC West, I'm going to go with Seattle. NFC North, Green Bay. NFC South, Atlanta. And
2 wild card.
2 wild cards.
That's really tough in the NFC.
It is.
NFC is it's such a stronger conference than give it credit for.
I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams.
Love it.
I like that pick.
And oh, jeez. Not Detroit.
Really?
Not Detroit. I'm not going with them.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, no defense to speak of in Detroit.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna say
Mario's flabbergasted.
my homer pick really wants to say Philadelphia, real bad, but I'm gonna keep bias out of this, and I am gonna go with Arizona.
That's great.
With the loss of David Johnson?
I think Arizona is still good enough to limp their way into the playoffs.
I would pick them with David Johnson healthy. I would pick them to win the West.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Healthy, but without him, he is literally 90%.
He's a catalyst.
Offense. They throw to him. He runs it. I'd have to see how they play next week to make like a prediction on them.
I mean, we're already making bold predictions as it
These
is.
are crazy.
That's true.
I don't know who wins the West. The West is the only thing I don't know who wins. I can tell you. I'm gonna just dive in right now because I gotta get it off my back. So we got South is Falcons. East, I do think Dallas pulls away with it. I think their line's just too good, and Zach and Zeke, they just have all the time, and Dez, yeah. Dallas wins that. North is sending 3 teams to the playoffs. Lions win it. Vikings and Packers both make the wild card. And
You're saying that Detroit is going to beat out Aaron Rodgers?
Yes. Matt Stafford got paid, and he gonna show the world why he got paid.
That sweet little pick six he threw.
Yeah, and he has the most fourth quarter comebacks. There was a stat. It talked about when a team is leading, going into the fourth quarter, Detroit is the only team that has a winning record. That's happened 16 games since Matt Stafford's been there. And I think there's something like 9-7 in those games. That is just, this man has ice through his veins. He needs to win the division.
Yeah, when Aaron Rodgers has them up 30 in the fourth.
He's gonna win that division. Matt Stafford wins that division. Green Bay and Vikings make the playoffs as wild card. The West is the only thing. I kind of want to say the Cardinals. I kind of want to say the Rams win the division. I don't think Seattle wins it. I think their defense is getting old. It's finally catching up to them. We saw how bad their offensive line was. Their offensive line looks like a preschool. It's so bad.
I mean, if you watch the Green Bay Seattle game, they held down Aaron Rodgers pretty good throughout. I would say at least the first half of that game, all the way up really until the fourth quarter. Because Green Bay wasn't really doing anything up until then.
And I'm going to say, I said the Browns are going to make the playoffs out of the West, so I'm going to say the Rams win the division. I'm going to say this rookie head coach inspires this brand new LA team. They went back to blue and white, and they see the playoffs this year. They don't make it out of the first round, but they...
Man. I felt a little conflicted saying that the Rams were even going to make the playoffs. This man saying they're going to win the division.
They win the division.
Honestly, I completely agree with you, Mario. I think the Los Angeles Rams win the West. I do. I think they win the West.
They win it.
They do. They win the West. I think the Cowboys win the East. I mean, you have to say the Cowboys win the East, assuming Zeke plays a full season. And the North, the Green Bay Packers win the North. The South, the Falcons, and the 2 wild cards. Let's see. I'm going to go with a sleeper pick here. I know they haven't played yet, but I think the Tampa Bay Bucks would pull away the Wild.
Haven't even touched the field in this insane playoffs.
The field yet. It's a big
playing
pick.
16 straight games of football.
I believe the hype that is Jameis Winston. Okay. That is Mike Evans. That is O.J. Howard. I think they I'm not saying they win the division. I'm saying they sneak into the wild card. They may be the last team in the playoffs, but I think they could sneak in.
Okay.
So my second wild card, I am going to go with the Eagles. I think the Eagles can pull off a wild card in the NFC. It'll be a fight between them and probably them and I want to say the Vikings. I want to say the Vikings could fight for a wild card, but I'd give it to Philly.
I can't believe you're disrespecting Matt Stafford like this.
Okay.
I
want to make 2 more bold predictions before we end our bold prediction segment here. First bold prediction after 1 week of football is who are our 2 Super Bowl contenders and which team is going to finish with the worst record in the NFL.
Ooh, right.
Jets.
So we'll start with the Super Bowl contenders since we're talking playoffs here.
Oh, not Jets.
I think AFC. No. I'm going to start in the NFC. NFC. I think it's going to be Atlanta again. Matt Ryan just picking up right where he left off in terms of MVP seasons, playing real well. AFC. I don't think we're seeing a rematch here. I'm going with Oakland.
Woo!
I think Oakland will be playing in a Super Bowl this year, and very well will be winning it.
Wow. I think that Derek Carr takes the. I mean, he might have well taken him farther if he didn't break his leg last year in the playoffs. They might have gone farther. So that's it. I could see the Raiders going far in the playoffs. They got a good team. So what about the worst record? Who finishes with the worst record in football?
Man, I feel like it's a battle between two conferences, between two teams, and I feel like it's going to be universally agreed with. It's going to be either the New York Jets or the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, we all saw it coming.
But who's worse? Who wins?
San Francisco. I think San Francisco is
The
worse.
Jets.
Yeah, Jets. Jets.
I think the Jets finish with it.
And keep in mind, I'm saying San Francisco while having Carlos Hyde on my fantasy.
Oh, that's right.
I think the 49ers are going to be real bad.
You don't think Brian Hoyer wins a few more games than...
I do. Brian Hoyer, the Destroyer.
They could very possibly both lose as many games as each other.
That's true. They could finish with the same 2-14 record that I
They
expected.
could both very well finish 0-16, unless they play each other at that point, which I don't know if that's a fact or not.
I'd watch a Sunday night Jets 49ers.
In which case, that game ends, and their record is both 0-15-1.
It'd be the first 0-0 tie.
This wouldn't be that bad. It wouldn't be that bad.
It might be that bad.
It might be. I actually want to see it now. I think the NFL should change something in the schedule and make that happen. That'd be such a great game. Actually, that would be almost more exciting to watch than like the two best teams go at it.
Speaking of the two best teams going at it, my bold, way too early, but still kind of accurate Super Bowl prediction: new blood, new faces all around. We're gonna see Matty Stafford and the Lions.
Oh my God!
Versus
the hype train is real with
versus Alex Game Manager Smith
and
the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow!
In the Super Bowl.
I don't even think Madden would make a prediction like that. Jeez.
I don't even think Madden could simulate something like that.
Exactly. I don't even know if that's in...
That just
That's
sounds
what
like
we're
a
seeing.
punishment.
That's what we're seeing.
That's a Super Bowl to watch.
Oh, believe me, it will be. Believe me.
Just some effective game management from Alex Smith and Matt Stafford throwing it 80 yards on every play.
Does Matt Stafford win the MVP too, Mario?
That's tough. That's tough to say because I don't know. I don't know if Alex Smith just game manages his way to victory.
Honestly, for the Lions to make the Super Bowl, he would need to win MVP because he'll need to throw for like 9,000 yards.
He
Calvin
won
Johnson comes out of retirement.
And then worst team in the league is Jets by a mile. Yeah, they'll beat Bama, but they won't beat. They'll finish 1-15 for the year because one team will just miss the bus and they'll get the win. They'll just rest their starters, their backups, their third strings. It's just not worth the risk of injury.
They start their kids.
Yeah, like.
Go ahead, little Bobby.
And that's it. That's my boldness.
Okay. My predictions for the Super Bowl this year are...
All right, you little homer. Let's hear it.
That's it.
I mean, you say that because I'm a Patriots fan. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys out of the NFC. I think they beat out the Falcons by a little bit. It'll be a shootout, but I think the Cowboys come do it this year. And I think I want to say Patriots, and I think I have to just because I don't see any other team that can really that I see them. There's not another team in the NFC that fully sticks out. The Raiders would be the only team I could see beating the Patriots to the Super Bowl. The Raiders would be the only team, but I think the Patriots do make it this year. I think they figure out their game plan. They figure things out this season. First week It happens. And also the stat. You can't forget the stat.
No.
The last 3 times the Patriots lost the first game of the season were 2001, 2003, and 2004. And do you guys remember what happened in each of those seasons?
What happened?
Nope. I
They
blocked out
won
2004.
the Super Bowl. So I think that history repeats itself. They follow the trend, and Patriots, Cowboys, Super Bowl. That's my prediction.
Not even Cowboys fans think the Cowboys are going to make the Super Bowl.
Far too early. That's probably
You guys are
true.
gonna
Hey, they're
throw out-
America's team, aren't they? Aren't they America's team?
I hate that team so much.
You don't know what it means to hate the Cowboys, Nathaniel. I'm going to tell you right now.
That's true. He's an Eagles fan. He definitely hates the Cowboys.
Look, I haven't chimed in much, but I'm gonna have my picks for this. Clearly, we're gonna say it's going to be the Ravens
Nope.
because it's time.
It's time
Nope.
for what?
I don't even think they make the playoffs.
for bed.
First off, I'm just,
It's time for
it's time for the Ravens to rise again. All right,
Oh
we,
my
went,
God.
we were amazing, and then like Ray Rice just had to literally knock this girl out one time, and we've been in a funk. But I feel like we've paid our dues. We're on the upswing. I can't say anything too positive about Joe Flacco, so I'm going to say that he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback and leave it there.
Self-proclaimed top 5 quarterback.
I mean, I'm looking at your schedule. You play Pittsburgh twice. You play Oakland. You play the Packers. You play the Vikings.
You don't win any of those.
Man,
We like
your
adversity.
only guaranteed win is against
Don't say it.
Detroit. In
Oh
week
my
13.
God. I thought you were gonna say the Browns, but that's even worse.
You just said that. The Browns
Oh
could
my
beat the
God.
Ravens in the division.
I
They're
did.
not. Ravens
I
are gonna
did.
make it. They're
Yeah.
gonna make it.
Y'all
All
said-
right, and
y'all
who
said-
are they playing? Who are they playing?
Who are
I
the
cannot
Ravens playing?
Wait to hear this.
All right. The Ravens are going to be playing.
The NFC. Tell me the Giants. Just
The Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears!
Oh my
The Chicago Bears. What year is it? Somebody tell me what year this is.
Chicago doesn't even know if it's a football team.
Chicago wins 4 games tops this year.
Guys,
But they're
you don't
making
see what I see.
I
They're
don't.
gonna make this.
You're
I
right.
really don't.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Chicago showed a little bit of promise in week 1. Like, they have a good future ahead of them. But no.
I mean, there's no way they beat the Packers for the division, and they won't get past Minnesota or Detroit for a wild
Or
card.
Detroit. Yeah, they're not getting past any of these teams. That's like
Detroit could pull away with a wild card. There's no way they finish
they win.
third.
play-
maybe,
They
in
play
the-
Minnesota twice. They play Green Bay twice.
Yeah, that Minnesota
They're gonna pull
defense.
through.
Yeah, I don't.
They
think-
only have 2 guaranteed wins this season.
Nathaniel, hold on. Do we know
Week 15,
Can
both
we
against
name-
Detroit.
2 players on the Bears?
Say Jay Cutler, please.
Nathaniel, who are 2 players that are on the Chicago Bears?
You know what? I'm glad you asked.
Me too. Me too.
He- Googling this whole time is what this man was.
Because I'm gonna name me some players.
Please do.
That's on that.
Name their 3rd string offensive line, please.
He's not telling me.
In no particular order.
No particular order other than alphabetical.
Barth. I think this guy's name is Barth Connor. Solid kicker.
Connor Barth.
All right, that's enough. That's like.
Barth Connor.
I think
They
that
have
does it.
Amukamara Prince. Bush Dion.
Amuka Mara Prince. Trubisky Mitchell. Don't forget about Trubisky Mitchell.
Is that who
Hicks
they have?
Hakeem.
Is that
Right,
who's throwing the
Kendall?
ball?
Glennon Mike.
Okay, all these names sound made up. Anything else on the docket today?
No, I think that's it. It was a light day.
I don't know. I think we need to turn this segment into stupid things Nathaniel says instead of Mario says.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't top that one this night.
You may be right about that. I'm excited for week 2. At the end of the day, I can't wait. I'm so glad football's back.
Okay,
Me
real
too.
quick. Actually, real quick. That's a great point. Week 2 matchups. I'm gonna list them off. Tell me who wins. Ready?
Well, we're doing like a fast round, like a quick
lightning round,
lightning
real
round?
quick.
All right,
This
all
is
right.
how I end it.
So real quick, let's just get an order down. Who goes first?
I want to hear Cody, Bryant, Nathaniel. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll be last.
All right, perfect. First one: Texans at Bengals.
Texans.
Bengals.
Bengals.
Okay. Majority of rules. Bengals winning that one. Next, Browns at Ravens.
Browns.
Browns.
Fuck you both, Ravens.
It's definitely the Browns. Next, Bills at Panthers.
Bills.
Ooh.
Panthers.
Bills.
Wow. Okay.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yo,
LaShawn
T-Rod
McCoy?
Taylor.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor takes it. All right, love it. Next, Cardinals at Indianapolis.
Oh, trash matchup. I'm gonna say Cardinals though.
Cardinals.
Indy.
Trash matchup. We had people saying Cardinals are going to win the division. Anyway, now I'm for it.
No,
Titans at Jags.
I like this matchup. I'm gonna say Titans though.
I picked Jacksonville to win the division, so I'm gonna say Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Titans, easily. Eagles at Chiefs.
Chiefs.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Chiefs.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
go Birds. Pats at Saints.
Pats.
Pats.
Saints.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Saints.
Goodness.
2 games in a row. Have the Pats ever lost 2 games in a row under Belichick? I couldn't tell you. Vikings
No.
at Steelers.
Vikings.
Steelers.
Steelers.
Vikings. Sammy B's for real. Bears at Bucks.
Buck. Go ahead, say it.
Never played a snap this year.
The Bucks.
I'm going
Whatever
Tampa
it
Bay.
is.
I'm going Tampa Bay.
Go ahead, Nathaniel. Say it.
Yeah, Super Bowl champions.
Chicago.
The Bears.
Say it. Oh my god.
I like the Bucks.
Y'all
there.
gonna regret. Y'all gonna regret.
I doubt it.
Oh.
Bucks win that handily. Miami Dolphins at Los Angeles Chargers.
The Chargers.
Chargers are on a big slide since last year. I'm going Miami.
Ooh. Haven't played a snap, Bryant. Haven't played a snap.
Jay Ajayi gonna run for 300 yards.
Probably not.
Jay Cutler. Jay
Right.
Cutler.
Oh, I'm high on Jay Cutler. Nathaniel, who wins that?
Yo, Jay Cutler.
All right, I'm gonna say Chargers. I'm big on them. Jets at Raiders. We can skip this one if you guys want.
Yeah. Raiders.
Oakland.
Marshawn.
Okay,
Just Marshawn.
single-handedly Marshawn.
I thought he was gonna say sleeper pick Jets.
Dallas at Denver.
Oh. Dallas.
This one actually I think is going to be close. You know, a young quarterback against a tough defense, but I think Dallas pulls it out.
Yeah.
Who's the young quarterback
Big
against the tough defense?
Trevor Simeon. Against.
Say-
Sorry. Dak Prescott against the Denver defense. My fault.
Yeah, there we go. Daniel, who you saying?
I say Denver.
I'm gonna say Denver. Yeah, I already said it. Washington at Los Angeles Rams. LA, 2 games.
The Rams.
Whew.
Yeah, I'm gonna go LA.
Are they gonna win the West?
They're gonna win the West.
Nathaniel.
This is tough. I'm not sure.
Tie game. All right.
Tag game. Tag game.
No,
We'll go with the tie.
that's fair. Rams play good, but Kirk Cousins does better than last week. Redskins win it. 49ers at Seattle.
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 Yeah, Seattle wins that.
Yeah.
Green Bay at Atlanta. This is a good one.
Yep.
I think Falcons.
Yeah, this is definitely, obviously it's primetime game, but this is definitely the game of the week, and I think Atlanta takes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta's gonna win that game.
I'm going to say Green Bay. And last, they're not going to win the division, though, Green Bay, but they'll win this week. Last but not least, Detroit Lions at the New York Giants.
Oh, the Lions. Easily.
I think the Giants are going to play much better than they played last week with OBJ coming back, but
Yeah. Go Bartasat.
you know what? I've been talking a lot of shit. I'm going New York. I've been talking a lot of shit about Detroit. I cannot pick them now.
Get it right, you can't.
Yeah. I respect it. You're sticking with it.
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit wins this handily, and they show why they're going to be the NFC North division winners.
Jesus. And what, Super Bowl contenders?
Yes.
My goodness.
110%.
I think that's all we got tonight. Thank you
There
for
we go.
tuning in. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell us what you think. Want to get the fans involved. Peace.
Give us your predictions.
Ooh, give us your predictions, yeah, so we can make fun of them.
Yeah. See if they're better than Nathaniel's.
That's a low bar to set. That's not even fair.
Watch this shit happen.
It won't.
It will.
Goodbye.
Have a good night.